Okay, hello, good morning. It's day 3 of Cannes Line 2012. You joined us at the Eden Hotel, here behind the Croisette at Cannes. The subject of our debate today is the suit, order taker or creative catalyst, stuffed shirt or supersuit. The world's been very, very kind to several people inside the advertising industry over time. The creatives in the 40s and 50s were immortalised by the likes of Bill Bernbach and David Ogilvy. The planners had their time in the 1960s and the 1970s, and by the 1980s, the suits undid everything by being likened to estate agents and car salesmen. This debate came about through one simple article. It was written by Chris Mumford in March. It was published in Ad Age. It was about a concept that he had brought up called the T-shaped suit. Chris, can you tell us about the genesis of that, please?
It was really a call to arms. I've watched as account people have been sort of pushed down. The creative people are lionized. The planners became very important to our clients. And in this new age, I saw it as a real opportunity for account people to step up.
I mean, I sensed emotion in there. I sensed anger almost.
Well, because I'm not seeing it happen. I'm not seeing it happen at all. And I want to see account people stop defining themselves as relationship managers and people that have a beer at the pub with their clients and start really connecting the ideas that we develop with business practice.
And is their job to build that relationship between the agency and the client, or is there a relationship somewhere else that they're challenged with building?
No, I think their relationship absolutely has to be built within the constituent parties within the company that are most likely to create the best outcome for the client. They need to understand, have a relationship, not a gin and tonic relationship, although there's no problem with a gin and tonic relationship as well.
No, it's quite nice.
Both. You want both. Or a beer. Yeah. But create a relationship with those clients whereby you actually understand what the client needs, not what the client wants. I'm afraid too much of account management, I think, is concerned with what clients want.
I come from a very different world, where I don't think the suits are either order takers or catalysts, because by sheer definition, a catalyst ceases to exist after the action. And in my part of the world, there's such superstar suits that they are part of the process of energizing, they're part of the chemical reaction that takes place, and they are part of the celebration that follows. So I definitely think that the ideal suit as such would be a person who is a part of the short passes that we make rather than that long pass and you keep standing near the goalpost and half the times you're offside. So I think it's a constant interaction that makes them a great business player and great promoter.
The account manager's being squeezed, isn't he?
Yeah, to build on that last point, I think it's interesting to talk about the process, because the kind of work that we're doing now compared to the kind of work that we did 10 years ago, the development of a print campaign or a TV campaign. In the old days, you launch it, you get it done, you launch it, and you move on to the next thing that you're doing, and you watch how great it does and what awards it wins. Now the kind of work we're doing with new technologies is you build it, you launch it, you relaunch it, you optimize it, you keep making it better, and it never, ever ends. So not only does the account person need to be involved all the way through, bringing the client along with that kind of process it's a new thing for all of us.
So I think the role that's needed today I would call something like strategic generalist. And I think they need to be impresarios, entrepreneurs or impresarios. I prefer to say impresario because I think entrepreneur, as we were discussing earlier, being entrepreneurial within a group context, holding company context, is a little bit of a struggle. So if you say impresario or producer, I think that's an easier place to go. And I say strategic generalist because I think these people need to have, because of what Chris just said, it isn't a case of, I know they'll be taking this order from a client and I'll be then giving an order to a creative person to come up with a telly ad. We know that's not going to be the answer. There's going to be a myriad ways of answering this problem. And by the way, it should be an always-on question as well. So 365 days of answers, not one answer. None of this military term we use of campaigns and executions and the like. So I think it's about, actually I think senior account people, the ones that are going to be successful, I think, are the ones who are more inclined towards being what we would have called planners in the old days.
If they're going to be strategic, do we need
I think
planners?
everybody should sit on the planning beach, and I think that the T-shaped ideal applies to everybody. I think you want T-shaped creatives, you want T-shaped planners. You have an area of deep knowledge and specialism, but you also understand how different things fuse together, and you understand those things well enough to know when you need someone else to help you. So the T-shaped model, I think, applies everywhere. It is worth remembering that actually there is one respect in which in the production of great creative work, suits are more important than creative. Okay. If you have a great brief, and basically you don't come up with anything very good as a creative, it is obvious and everybody knows, and it is a visible failure. If you fail to spot potential, it's an invisible failure. It's worth remembering that without Brian Epstein, this is to borrow the impresario phrase, without Brian Epstein there would not have been the Beatles. He actually took a friend of his who knew far more about the music industry and far more about music than he did. He was running a chain of record shops in Manchester at the time. And he took a friend along to see them play. And afterwards he said to the friend, "What did you think of them?" He said, "I thought they were shit." and Brian Epstein's reply was, "Yeah, so did I. But I think there's something there." Now that ability to spot something where no one else does is the most vital thing in producing great work, for the simple reason that when you don't do it, a failure of creativity, once the brief's written and it's a good brief, is visible and detected and punished, arguably. And, you know, we suffer in terms of peer group approval and everything else. But a failure to spot something doesn't get you into trouble. So the suit can often survive, a bad suit can survive for 5 or 6 years, effectively burying their failures.
We live in an industry that moves on very fast. And so the 15, 20-year client relationships you don't see many of them anymore. And so in my view, the job of being an opportunist, to see the business opportunities, to find the business opportunities as a way to not only grow your own business, but grow the client's business, or find some business impact you're having on behalf of that client. That's the fun part of the job. I'd rather be doing that day to day than standing up on a stage and showing the latest, flashiest campaign I've put together. I'd rather see business grow, and I think that's a bit of the call to arms. That's where the opportunity is for account management, in my view, in this new world, because we should move to a focus on building and growing long-lasting client relationships where we're true partners.
In an old 17th or 18th century ship that used to exist, that I wonder what that role is in an agency today. So if you describe a ship, you say you've got a captain, you've got some runners, you've got some cooks and all the rest of it. And then in the old days, you used to have somebody in the crow's nest. I don't know who's in a crow's nest of an agency today. And I think that actually having somebody in the crow's nest is rather important, because I don't think most people in agencies have got a clue what's coming around in 3 months, never mind 3 years.
I think clients sometimes don't know exactly what they need, and they've been sort of okay with just having basically a project manager kind of role, assisting them in getting things done. But they don't look to us like they should, and we don't ask them to look to us to sit in the crow's nest.
How does a client delineate between being sold what they need, to your earlier point, between that and selling what you need as a creative agency?
I just feel uncomfortable about selling, because selling implies the friction and the lack of desire to buy from the other end, and I don't feel that's the case. I don't think clients are being sold strategies by McKinsey. I don't think McKinsey think, well, we've got to go and sell this new strategy to the client. I think what they do is they go, we understand your business, we understand the problems, we believe this is a solution.
One interesting thing, I think, very, very big suit role. I mentioned the point about what I call the dog that didn't bark in the night, which is spotting the thing that no one else spots. Any Sherlock Holmes fans here? Actually, great planning. The Sherlock Holmes short stories are fantastic account planning training manuals, in my opinion. Because that talent of spotting the thing that no one else sees is just, there's an element of detective work to it. Yeah. And I think that two other points I'll make.
This notion of sales, okay, there's been an allergic reaction from Chris on the notion of sales. How do you get clients to cross the synapse between safe work and work that wins, that appears and wins at Cannes, without a little bit of salesmanship in there?
I don't think you require salesmanship. I completely agree with Chris out there. Trust comes with time. Trust comes with you sticking your neck out, proving yourself to be correct. Next time, the chances are the person wants to play the game a little more. So I don't think you can walk into a client and say, trust me. But you can take them to the process of saying, if we did this, in my opinion, it would take you a little further. And it has taken a long time. And you do it on one client, and somebody sees the results. Next day, 5 more clients want to do it. So I think there is belief, faith, and perseverance.
Yeah.
But terrifyingly, Rory was talking a second ago about, you can be a bad suit for 5 to 6 years.
I have a point to add to that.
Sorry, Piyush, carry on.
You can be a bad creative person for 10 years also. And hide in the system. So I don't think we should kind of point fingers at suits themselves. There are good suits and there are bad suits. There are good creative people, there are bad creative people.
That actually a wise man makes more opportunities than he finds. And that capacity to actually go to a client with something they hadn't even thought of, you've never been briefed on at all, is the single most valuable thing you can do.
This has been the Do Debate on the road. I'd like you to thank our panel today, Rory Sutherland, Piyush Pandey, Chris Mumford, and Chris Palengat. Thank you very much from Cannes 2012.